So what we're going to see, if we take this little section right here, this is representing my capillary. This is representing a section from my alveoli, okay? And if we begin to break it into something that we can view, notice that they're showing that the respiratory membrane, it's a little bit of the blood vessel, a little bit of the alveolus, and then the stuff in between. That's not our usual thought pattern for a membrane. Is everybody with me? Okay? Because here's what we got to have it be made of. Squamous alveolar cell, squamous. Flat, egg shape, fried egg, okay? Squamous capillary endothelial cell. The flat, fried egg ones. So that's telling me I've got one layer thick on the blood vessels. How do I know that? How do I know this is only one layer thick at this blood vessel level? Because I'm at the point of capillaries. And capillaries are only a single cell layer thick. How do I know that I'm only at a single layer here in this alveolar sac? Because I was told. Okay? Now, these two, part of the blood vessel, part of the alveolar sac, they're going to be sharing this basement membrane. So that's why you've got a little bit of the alveolar sac, a little bit of the blood vessel, and the stuff that's in between. Is everybody with me?
The yellow is the basement membrane.
It's kind of going to be representing fluid, but that's a fluid that's going to be in between. But the base, see how we're sort of starting right here, and squamous cells have a basement membrane? So we're kind of looking at this part of the alveolar sac's basement membrane. And then over here, it's not, you can't really see it well in this picture, but this blood vessel would have a basement membrane running around it also. Now what this is doing, okay, this particular structure, it's creating a very thinned out interstitial space, okay? Now what we're going to find as the cells, okay? Because remember, we're now at the cellular level. So we're going to find 3 types of cells. 3.
Are you in the interstitial space?
I'm in this respiratory membrane. So what are going to be the cells? We're going to find that we have what's called type 1 pneumocytes. And everybody knows that at this point, hopefully, if we hear this term, that's letting us know lung tissue. So I'm going to have type 1 oops, I forgot my U. I think I need to just give up and go home. pneumocytes. Site tells me cell, correct? Once again, thin squamous cells. They make up 90% of this alveolar area. So the type 1 pneumocytes, these are the most abundant. And their job is gas exchange. Well, if I have a type 1, guess what other one I have? A type 2. So I have a type 2 pneumocyte. Their shape, they're going to be round to a little bit cube shaped. Now, these cells are going to be secretory. Now, at this point, what do I mean by secretory? Not like it's going to secrete something, okay? Not telling you a secret, okay? It's going to secrete something. So the type 2, they're going to produce what we term surfactant. Have you ever heard of surfactant? You've probably come across it, especially in soap. You'll see sometimes, if any of y'all like me read the labels on stuff, or am I just weird that way?
I do it too.
Okay, I read the ingredients and stuff like that. I know it's really weird.
I went to, have you heard of, I didn't know this place ever existed. It's called Harris Teeter. I never heard of that place.
I love their stores.
I went there and it was a package of carrots, and on the back of it, the ingredients were carrots. I was like, oh wow, I was like, I didn't know that, but I guessed it. So.
The peanut can says making peanuts.
Yes.
It's like an allergy warning.
I have some theories on it, but I'll just keep them to myself. Surfactant. Liquid soap. If we take liquid soap, not that one. Now liquid soap. Just a little bit of it, okay? Now, if I don't have the water, and I do like this, how does this soap now feel? Slippery. Okay? And when slippery, all right, because this is what the surfactant's going to be like, okay? The surfactant's going to be very similar to what you would think of with the liquid soap. And one of the things that it can help do is reduce surface tension. Ah, wait a minute. Have I ever heard of surface tension before? Where have I heard of surface tension?
Physics.
Huh?
Physics and chemistry.
Water. One of the properties of water was the ability for surface tension. And guess what's present here? Water. So we've got this slippery surfactant. The job, reduce surface tension. And believe it or not, that is the job for this surfactant, is so that the lungs do not collapse when we breathe. Babies that are born might need to get a shot of surfactant if they have some breathing problems, you know, getting started with their breathing.
So surfactant's sort of like phlegm or
Mm-mm.
something?
It's like a soap substance. And because this intercellular space, okay, in between that alveolar sac and that blood capillary, all right, this area, all right, we're going to need to make sure, first of all, the job at this point is movement of gases. Now, as we breathe in and out, surfactant helps, okay, so that the lung just doesn't totally collapse at the end of respiration. The other thing about this respiratory membrane is the water that's going to be present. There's going to be a reason for that. At the level of my blood capillary and that alveolar sac, I've got to move 2 gases. That's it. What are my 2 gases? Oxygen and carbon dioxide. Hopefully, oxygen will move into the capillary, CO2 will move out. The gas laws. Any of y'all remember gas laws? I'm not a very big fan of them, okay? You're gonna have to become a huge fan of them.
I know, I have flashcards.
Oh my goodness, okay? The body being this amazing machine that it is, we're dependent on pressures, okay? And those pressures are going to be moving those gases. And the movement of those gases, some of it will be dependent on how soluble that gas is in water. And at this area, we have a water substance. We're moving 2 gases, oxygen and CO2. Which one do you think dissolves more readily in water? CO2. Seems backward, doesn't it? Kind of gets pretty interesting.
20
This
times faster, is that right?
Huh?
20 times faster, something like that.
Something like 20, 24, 25, somewhere around that number. It's a lot more soluble than oxygen. In our probably understanding about air and our breathing, we tend to associate everything about breathing to oxygen. Is that correct? I mean, if you're in the hospital and you're having trouble breathing, they give you oxygen, right? Respiratory therapist comes up, they'll give you an oxygen treatment, right? Guess what's determining that? It has to do with the CO2. CO2 is the determining factor, not oxygen. Anybody else find that interesting? I just think it's kind of cool. The third type of cell, did y'all see that? The third type of cell, it's going to be this little dust cell. It's just simply a macrophage. What do macrophages do? They eat stuff up. At this point, you don't want them having to do anything except worrying about keeping that alveolar sac clean. If something has made it this far into the lung tissue, chances are you're gonna have some other issues pop up. When we think about the lungs, pleura is another term that we associate with the lung tissue.